I guess we should start the review off just saying like our experiences with Berserk.
Okay.
So, what are yours?
My experiences. Well, I know very little about it. I only know it from there's Dark Souls references, or I mean, in this case, it would be there's Berserk references in Dark Souls,
There's
and
Dark
then
Souls
there's
references
Dark
in
Souls
Berserk?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
You know how he does a fat roll? Yeah. And then I mean, I've seen photos of Berserk. I have this. Actually, it's actually on my
I bet it's not as good as my wallpaper
look
for
at
Berserk.
this. Look at this bad boy.
Let me see, let me see. That's pretty good.
I know it's like
Let me make the argument.
okay.
Let me make my case.
I
This is my case.
all right.
That's
Oh,
just my
okay.
case.
That is your case. Interesting. Interesting.
Anyway, so no experience at all. No spoilers
Literally
anywhere?
no spoilers anywhere. I mean, there's probably spoilers, right? But I don't understand the spoilers at least for now. Maybe eventually I'll be like, "Oh
Do,
yeah, maybe."
do not look up do not look up Berserk on YouTube or anywhere, as a matter of fact. I feel like you won't last 10 seconds before you see a spoiler. For me, um, so I've already read all of Berserk up until the
All of
most
it.
like recent chapters.
I did not
Not
know that.
not all of it.
That's a lot of Berserk.
Most of it. That is a lot of berserking. Um,
That's mostly Berserk, you know?
yeah, exactly. I've lost my berserk virginity, and
Oh, it's
I'm here to get rid of yours,
I don't like
so you
that.
can now become a
I
good, strong adult.
I don't know about that one.
It'll make you a stronger human being. I don't know about better, but
I'll be
it'll change you. So yeah, I read it like 1 or 2 years ago, I want to say.
You're
I
old.
was not there. Shut up. I'm not old. I was never there during the hiatus for when Miura was still making stuff, when he was still writing,
Uh-huh.
for Berserk. I feel like I haven't, my heart is not there with the OGs and the Berserk community,
No.
unfortunately. But
You know,
maybe with this video,
that feels oddly similar to like me and JoJo. I did not have to deal with any of the wait time for that. I'm not gonna have to deal with any of the wait time for this either.
we're gonna review the first arc of Berserk, the Black Swordsman. I think most people would agree it is the best arc, and the rest kind of
Ass.
sucks. So it's only downhill from here. So
In fact,
don't get excited.
they're not even canon to most people. It's just Black Swordsman.
Yeah, the rest. Yeah, the Black Swordsman. That's all you need to read. Honestly, I don't know why we're gonna read past this, but
um
we will. So should we
oh
get
boy,
into
yes.
the first chapter?
Let's get started. I did not take as good of notes for this one.
Before we summarize, just that first panel. Um,
No. I think the thing is it's not
let's talk about it.
hold on, let me go to the first panel real fast. It's not even just the first panel. It's also like it's the first page, like the second page, and kind of the third page. Like it's like a whole scene. What a strange thing to start off on. I'm gonna be honest with you.
It's debated whether or not this is debated as, is it like character fitting for Guts? Is it, you know, is this the most subtle way of starting a dark fantasy manga?
um
Probably not. I would say on both of those, but it definitely caught my attention when I first read it.
I don't know. This is pretty subtle to me.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. What's Guts say here? He says, right as he is, fucking the demon. He says, the only one trapped
Is
is you,
you bitch.
bitch. uh, the Black Swordsman is so edgy.
It's but I kind of like it.
I would say I think it matches the tone that if the Black Swordsman was its own thing,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the tone wouldn't match,
Yeah.
but Berserk isn't only the Black Swordsman. So, yeah, let's kind of break down the first chapter. Give us a summary.
All right. So after this strange ass sex scene, it heads straight to a town, or like not a town, but like a town, a castle. I don't know what you'd
Uh,
call that.
I
Just
don't know
like
what those are called. They remind me of the segments and like Attack on
I
Titan.
was
I
gonna
forget.
say, this is
I don't know what they're
Walmaria.
called.
You see our main character walking into it. We
Wow.
then enter this pub and we see this elf who is tied up in a rope, like by the neck, being like abused. Yeah, it's a interesting start to Puck for sure. We then notice, I guess it. I feel like it bothers our main character Guts, and he just beats the shit out of everyone in the pub. Like there's
Like,
like the
I,
scene of the arrow going through that dude's head
yeah.
hitting into a wall. That
I will say, like, immediately Berserk, the action is great. It is just like addicting the read that it is so good,
it is
just straight off the bat.
it really is. But after like completely obliterating all of these people in this pub, he goes up to this dude and then asks to go to a boss in Coca Castle. Is
Coca is a great name,
Coca
castle.
is a fantastic name. He asked this dude to leave a message to his boss. The message was the Black Swordsman has come.
That is where boss fights got their name. But yeah, I will say like this next page, like Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
we're on chapter 1 and the art is already amazing. Like this is just fantastic. Just like the faces in the back too.
I know.
Like I don't know.
But after that insane bar fight, our elf character named Puck, he seems to take a liking to Guts and just follows him around. And Guts, it's Guts, so he's kind of a bad person. Gives no shit about this elf. It's an elf, is it right? I thought it was a fairy for a little while.
Yeah,
But
yeah, no, it's weird. They look like fairies, but they're elves. Just gonna have a weird interpretation. I don't know if this is how elves are represented in other cultures. Honestly, I prefer it to the just skinny white boy elf in every other thing ever. I'm so tired of that.
my favorite elf adaptation is the one in all the Christmas movies.
Yeah, agreed.
You
Why
know,
why do elves have to all be like Tolkien elves? You know
I
what I mean?
know. Give some
Like
variety. Like,
I,
why do they all gotta be like
I
7
want
feet tall?
I want them all to be like basically just dwarves but with long ears.
What happened? I got lost. I got sidetracked.
Guts, he keeps walking and then he eventually gets cornered by a bunch of like
Oh,
soldiers.
yeah, a bunch of soldiers, and I guess he just submits. I don't see like a fight scene here. I thought he would like fight and it would show it, but no, it goes straight to this image of
Yeah,
him.
looking at that, there's no way he would lose that. Like,
Yeah, he totally submitted, and we see this image of Guts. It's a pretty cool image of him being like held up with like scars all over his body.
my only complaint is that like, okay, why does he have no like other scars besides the fresh ones?
Also, his body
Um,
proportions are kind of funny too in this.
I love how his rib cage is just like outside of his body.
Yeah, you can see
Like
his like rib cage here, and then like his six pack and his like pecs like meld together.
they move, his six packs and abs just like moved away. They like crushed together and moved away his ribs.
We then get to see like a little further on. We get to see a demon almost riding a horse. It looks like it has like a snake head. I think they do a good job with making them look cool. Like
Yeah, the apostles. By the way, apostle is single-handedly the coolest name for demons ever.
apostles. Okay, I gotta remember that because that is a pretty cool name.
Don't worry, you'll remember. It's pretty important. The apostle, he's in his castle, and just some of these panels are so like pulpy, like pulp horror, like 80s style,
I see that actually.
and I just kind of love it. It looks like straight out of like Creep Show with some of these panels. If not earlier, like it gives some Frankenstein vibes too.
Yeah, like you can kind of tell with like just the imagery and stuff that's shown, like the characters and how they're hiding them almost.
Yeah, there's a lot of shadow, definitely in the early Berserk chapters. That's kind of cool. I enjoy it.
Well, yeah, I like this. I like this image. I think you have it in your notes. Of the eyes towering over the castle.
Oh yeah.
I think that is it's pretty spooky.
Or if Berserk ever gets like a really good adaptation, I want Black Swordsman to be edited like just like super cheesy 80s like these panels are showing, because that would just be so cool. I know the rest of the series isn't like that, but I love it.
But it looks like Guts gets like thrown, just like kind of out. He's been beaten to the point where just cannot move, and he sees this ugly ass slug. He says "you" again, so he does know what this thing is. I do know. I think we see it again later in the Black Swordsman.
I will say, okay, out of everything in Black Swordsman that you can remember,
Mm-hmm.
besides Guts being like who he is, that fetus is probably the most important plot element carried over from Black Swordsman.
We get to see, I guess Puck follows Guts here, right? And he can just like heal. They just got powers, I guess. He can heal Guts. At this point, we get to learn about this crest on the side of Guts' neck, called the Brand of Sacrifice.
Yes.
Or, I mean, I think he just calls it the brand right now, but it is the Brand of Sacrifice, and
And I will say, I love the symbol for it so much. It just like it's so iconic.
it is a very iconic symbol. Like everyone knows what this is, or I've seen it before.
I was visiting Oregon,
Mm-hmm.
and like I was shopping with like my grandma and like I don't know, some Oregonian store, I don't know where it
Okay.
was, but it was just like this random like super skinny worker that like came in and he helped my grandma, and I just look at his neck and I see the brand of sacrifice. No, I would say something, but I don't want to explain to my grandma what Berserk is. So I'm just gonna leave that as it is.
We move on, and I did want to mention this. For some reason, his brand of sacrifice starts bleeding, right? And he
Yes.
starts licking his blood. Why is he doing that? I don't get it.
Uh
Was he thirsty, bro?
I I think his guts is a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, I would say. His favorite thing in the world is, murdering apostles.
Uh-huh.
So I think that might have been a little bit of, what's the word? Foreplay?
Oh boy.
He's exciting himself a little bit.
He looks
Um
excited, that's for sure. But we get to see a bunch of horse.
which of course this panel
Horsies.
or not panel, just 2 pages. This goes hard. This looks great.
It does. It looks really good, actually. All right, so we see this big bad. I think he has a child on his axe.
Yeah, yeah, that looks pretty. Yeah, that's a child. He drinks the blood of the.
See, that's how you know
I
he's a
love
bad guy.
Berserk.
He's just a bad guy for that, you know.
Oh, really?
Otherwise, you wouldn't know. Of course, he had to kill the children and drink the blood to prove to you that he's not that good of a guy. He got some stinky morals. But we get to here we see Guts, face completely black, and he's like he looks furious and ready to just murder this dude. So
I just part of me wishes Berserk wasn't like translated as Berserk, and it was just like called Mad, and that's what.
just angry,
Unhappy.
upset. But he just starts shooting his bow, like slaughtering a bunch of things.
His machine gun arm. Okay, let's just talk about his loadout real quick. Okay,
Yeah,
he
let's
has
talk about
a
it.
max rank weapon
Yep.
with just like this gigantic 300-pound sword. He has a machine gun strapped to his arm that shoots out arrows. He has a arm cannon.
He
He
does.
has
He's
knives, like throwable knives. I don't know if they show it in Black Swordsman, but he has like small miniature like bombs he can throw. It's like, bro, he is decked out.
but yeah, I love this image where he just slaughters this horse. You just see the horse head flying in the air.
There's so many horses that die in Berserk. Horses are not safe.
Bro, it might be the is it the equivalent to Attack on Titan, or is it less?
Oh, there's so much more. But
Oh boy.
don't worry, you will hate horses after a while reading Berserk, so it'll be fine. At first, it'll be sad, like, oh no, the horse doesn't deserve it, and then we move on to like conviction, and you're like, okay, I'm never touching a horse again. And
That's okay. Moving on from that, that's a little concerning. We get to see this very cool scene of, I say scene, but a panel of like it kind of gives like cowboy vibes where it's just one dude on one side and the other dude on the other side looking at each other. It's like they're about to take 3 steps back and then go and shoot their gun at each other. That's what.
Yeah.
But it's very cool, and fighting ensues. It's just a massive ass fight. People are getting slaughtered. This snake guy got arrows in his chest, one in his eye. He ain't looking too good, but he kind of stands put.
Oh, by the way, okay. I just need to talk about that tongue. Gosh. Ooh, it just looks like he is get um I don't even know if that can be showed on YouTube. It looks like he isn't fighting guts. It looks like something else. Just like if you take that panel without context, Jesus, it says for the dialogue bubbles or not
Yeah.
dialogue, the sound effects, it says Hulk. I just wanted to add that. Whew, uh,
Yeah, yeah. Moving on. Anyways, Guts gets like the shit beat out of him for a little while. I don't even know how he's still living in one of these frames where his like head looks like he's drowning in his own blood. But he's still kicking. He got some life to him. And then bro just pulls out like his boomstick basically and just blows his like snake guy's head completely, well, like not completely off, but he kind of giving what's his name from Breaking Bad, like
uh last chance to look at me, Hector.
yes, like kind of giving that,
Yeah.
and then he just kind of just grabs his 300-pound sword with ease and just slices right through his
I'm just
stomach.
saying that sequence is awesome. Just like, okay, he pulls out the arm cannon, blows his face off,
Oh
then
yeah.
falls down beneath him, sees his sword, grabs it, and then just cuts the rest of him in half.
No, that is like
That is why Black Swordsman is worth reading.
like it's, you can't even like give justice by saying it, really. You just have to look at it. It is insane how good some of these like fight scenes go. We didn't see like Guts, probably adding to his foreplay, saying things like "Don't die on me yet."
I think
Oh
we're
yeah,
past
we're
foreplay. I
we're
think
we're
he's
in the
edging.
in the meat, We're like he's like, "Don't stop yet. Don't kick the barrel just yet." It's I still want to torture you a little bit more. Yeah, so basically kind of beats the shit out of this snake dude and then starts asking it some questions about the 5 members of the God Hand, which kind of sounds spooky, not gonna lie. That sounds like a big deal. And
Okay.
apparently,
Well, okay. What were you thinking like when you saw it? Were you just like, okay, it's more demon guys or
well, I was thinking there would be like the big bads, like the final goal, because especially right after this fight, or like right after this panel, it says it's not for apostles such as I to know. And that I mean, to be fair, Guts did take down this apostle pretty fast, I guess, but like he ended up like kind of battered from it. So if this is like not even to the level of knowing where they are, they gotta be strong. I think
yeah.
that's like it's kind of like an interesting power scale, like to like think about. Like those guys are way
Yeah.
beyond this dude.
That's is really gonna have to upgrade
Yeah,
in
he's
order to
gonna
fight him,
gonna have to grind a little
right?
bit, level up.
I feel like that's what I was thinking the first time, was like God Hand. Okay, so he's just gonna get stronger and he's gonna go fight him, and then when they actually show up, it's like, what the oh,
um,
like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
He needs to level up, get some souls off of some of the enemies, and spend it on leveling up.
Okay, that shot where he's just like walking, puts his sword on his back. That is like straight up
Yeah.
something you would see in a AMV from 2011 with Monster by Skillet playing in the background.
And then I love the final text in this chapter where it's Puck.
The Black Swordsman end.
Oh no, not even
That's
that. No,
not,
no, 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 no,
that
no.
was not much worse.
That's bad. But
For
Puck,
sure.
just saying Berserk. That's incredible to
Like,
me.
like
That
it's
is.
just Berserk. Man. It's not even man, that guy is Berserk. It's just Berserk.
All right, so I think this chapter, or like the imagery at the very beginning of chapter 2, where it shows Guts in like this kind of dark, demented place, with like the text bubbles just saying "You cannot escape us." I think that's like a cool start to this chapter. almost like it showing what's coming, what's gonna happen this
I
chapter.
love haunted forests so much, dude. It's such a vibe.
True.
Anyways, you start out. Puck is flying on a bird, which is just something about that is just like so majestic. I love it.
I also love how they like for the first couple panels they like super go into detail with the art, like so that it's like extra majestic.
Yeah. Yeah, mangas do that weirdly a lot of the time. I don't know like the story behind it, but yeah. Still looks cool though.
So after seeing majestic Puck over here on this bird, he goes to see Guts and is very excited to see Guts. Actually, he's very happy, and Guts is just so mean, bro. Gus is like the worst person to him. He just like flicks him off into the puddle of water. That is so funny to me. Like he's just so
Just
mean.
disrespectful, I will say. So I'm not a big fan of. He says something very interesting to his character and kind of where he is. This is one of those things that, with context of Golden Age, kind of changes your perspective. Because at first it kind of seems just like another edgy line to make Guts not very likable. He goes like, "Because you're weak, it pisses me off when I see weaklings. I feel like I want to crush them." So very, nice things to say. I think Guts has some trauma, and I definitely feel like that, like him saying stuff like this, which like first kind of annoyed me when I read it, but now it's kind of him coping, where if he gets attached to anything, he doesn't want to get attached to anything,
Yeah, yeah,
so he just like labels everything as like beneath him, like tries to like make an ego for himself so he doesn't have to have any emotion for anybody.
I wanna add on to that because in my notes, I wrote about him. Although he is like a lot of people consider him to be he's not a good main character in this. I feel like he's just super unlikable as a character, and I get that. I
Mhm.
mean, and maybe it's also because I know that it's based on previous trauma, but at the same time, I feel like it would be kind of recognized that there's an underlying trauma going on consistently throughout it. You can kind of tell based on his facial expressions and what like what he said earlier, what like just what he says. It feels like he is actively trying to not like things.
Yeah, he is definitely. I would personally like it more if they would establish this isn't Guts's norm as a
Yeah.
character. But I don't think Mira, when he was writing, knew that yet. Because you can definitely get those hints that he has some trauma, but it's also like this guy hasn't done anything for me to like really necessarily like care, if that makes sense. Where he's just kind of been a douchebag.
But look at this image of him where he's so sad because it's raining on him and he has to put on his cloak. Look how sad he looks.
Yeah, the Discord
Yeah, like
profile
what
picture.
all the Discord users use? Like there's a reason because they're all so sad and you got to empathize with
Wow.
them a little bit.
That's how you can tell he has trauma because it's raining. He has his hood on. I mean, Guts is honestly such a deep character. Like with his friend, he's just like sad. I've been sad before, and I can tell you, it feels exactly like that.
Yeah,
He's just not
100%.
happy.
So while he's walking in the rain, super sad looking, like God, he's just so sad. We come across this carriage and we meet this priest and this young girl. They offer to let Guts on, and Guts being Guts is just like, I don't wanna because evil spirits.
For this is the first time that he's genuinely 100% saying something to let other people know. Like he's saying, "No, I'm being pursued.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very dangerous to let me on here." And even though he still goes on, it is nice to see him do something. He's not just gonna hop on and just like have this family die.
It's interesting, like you kind of see his character a little bit in this section specifically where it says Guts is thinking in his head, just what do I care if something happens to him? Like what, why not? You can kind of tell that like he was kind of debating it a little bit, it felt like. So he goes on and he sees Puck on there and they're being besties over here and just like ignoring each other. So the priest sees the sword and says that it looks like he's a mercenary. The priest mentions about how he doesn't have respect for the people who kill other people and the way of living by the sword and dying by the sword. And then he like gives kind of like a story about how his nephew also did that or was a mercenary or I guess not a mercenary, but he lives by the sword just like Guts does. He mentions how he lost his life, a lowly soldier with no name, and I think Guts gives some pretty good lines right here where he says, He died doing what he wanted, no matter what. I bet he was happy. I think that's like kind of sweet to say to the priest, as like maybe just like closure to make the priest like think, hey, maybe he did die doing what he wanted. It's like kind of bittersweet because right after that he's just like, even though nothing comes after that, nothing at all, you know. Once you die, that's it. You're talking to
Okay, I will
straight to a
say that is
priest.
my that line is cringeworthy. I
it
will say
it is very
I
cringy.
am not a fan of the I'm not a fan of the trope of characters going, "Yeah, the afterlife, that's all a lie. They just told you that to make you feel better. This is the real world."
Wake up, Bucko.
I remember like reading Ready Player One and the whole first chapter was yeah, God's not real. There is no afterlife. This just happens in so many stuff, and I'm tired of it. I'm so tired of it.
So after this, Guts falls asleep, and it kind of goes into like some sort of what it feels like a dream or a memory of some sort of just something like kind of awful. You see, like this, the moon or the sun is just an eyeball now, and there are these like brick like or stone walls that go as high as you can really see, and it's just Guts there, experiencing these fears. And what we find out is it's a monster that came after Guts and started feeding on his like worst fears and giving them nightmares.
Like just the nightmare itself. I'm sorry, that panel of his foot. Ugh.
Oh yeah, no, that.
Oh, that hurts. That hurts so bad. And also, the monster in his dream
Oh yep, okay, of course,
is Fetus again.
the ugly ass worm.
Okay, just imagine having a ton of trauma, and it does come into play like when we kind of cut back to the Black Swordsman arc
Mm-hmm.
a little bit later. Again, no spoilers, but they make it a point that yeah, Guts doesn't really get sleep. Like he'll actually just like sleep there while like small ghosts are like still trying to attack him,
Yeah.
and he'll just sleep through it because he gets no sleep. So just imagine no sleep, heavy amount of trauma, trying to repress that trauma, and you're just there, and there's a whole lot of hatred in you, and that's how you make this guy right here.
Yeah.
Just the idea of like not being able to sleep because ghosts will keep like trying to murder you is just so. I do not envy Guts.
Not at all, honestly. No, that's I don't even know how he's just living. That would suck. I couldn't. I don't think I could. We find out the carriage, the wagon, it stops, or like it has to stop because like a group of undead they appear and start to attack. I think they're after Gut specifically, and the girl decides that it would be best to freak out and get outside after Gut says stay inside, and then gets immediately slaughtered. Like
She had a plan.
I don't know.
She kind of had it coming, to be honest. Yeah. And this panel with the skeletons like coming up from the fog, that is some spooky shit, and I
It
love
is
it.
so good. Like
I love this panel.
it is such a sick panel. Like Berserk has some of the best panels. I even in the first arc where it's like not even to the full potential. It's just so good.
And also like this, you know the one skeleton meme where it's like all the skeletons and it's like panning like
Yes.
around them and they're all just like judging. It comes from Berserk. It was one of the adaptations, right?
Was it the
Of this scene.
oh my god, that's I kind of want to watch the first adaptation of Berserk. At the same time I don't really want to, but at the same time I do because I'm just curious, you know.
I think for me, I would read the manga first before anything because it's definitely the old version is an adaptation, and it definitely feels like that. Like it's giving a slightly different vibe. But that is the best adaptation that I've heard. Unfortunately, zero budget, so every action scene is just like a slideshow. It's better than 3D animation. So
Anyway, so Guts, does the Guts thing and just straight up slaughters quite a few of them. And we go and see the girl who died and became undead and just freaking slaughters the priest. Like it's kind of shocking to Guts. Like if you look at his face when she does that, it's just like, whoa. I did not really expect that.
I just watched the daughter murder like this nice guy, chop his head off.
And then it goes to the like a scene of the girl and Guts kind of like facing each other, and Guts just kind of remembers like the sweetness of the girl and kind of what the girl was beforehand, and then all of a sudden, bam! Girl has this. This also looks like a heavy weapon to hold for a young girl,
Yeah,
but like just stabs it into Guts, and that probably hurts a little bit.
this page, I think is great because instead of like usually most shots with Guts swinging his sword, it's made to be as epic as possible. There's the wind up and then just like the explosion afterwards where he just like chops up 10 people at once. But for her, because you kind of see he's a little disturbed by it, it's framed further away. It really feels like a lot more sad that way.
It's framed far away with like a heavenly white around it, which you only really see when that kind of stuff happens. You don't see that like when it's a happy thing or when they're mad. It's only really when it's sad when you get to see the pure white behind even like in animes shots and stuff. It's good imagery, and then like the right below it, the panel of just a few blood splatters. I think this whole page is done very well and it's a very strong page.
Then we continue to more skeleton fighting, and I just gotta say, fighting spooky skeletons in a foggy forest
I
is
know,
awesome.
it's so
I'm just
awesome.
that is my favorite vibe of just like I need more of that. I just need more of that in things I watch or read.
No, it
But
really
yeah, and
is.
then we go to the panel where he Jesus Christ, oh my God, that panel is so good. Put it on screen right now.
Right,
That is an
bam.
awesome panel.
Man, yeah, just him like fighting all of these guys. I love it. I just love this panel. There's one in I think it's chapter 8 that I really wanted to try making it like a wallpaper. I'll mention it later.
Okay, when we get there.
Yeah, yeah. But like I wish this white border was not there, or like this white like centerpiece of this like digital image was not there, because
I'm sure someone has edited it.
probably. And after this fight is over, it's just, oh wow, the fight's over. The sun has come out, like the clouds are parting, and it's just like Guts directly
Yes, it's
in.
all over.
And he's just like, Puck tries to reassure Guts after like seeing him act so sad.
Puck is a homie. I'm just saying.
Puck,
Puck is.
Puck is quite a
I
homie.
need a Puck in my life, bro. I need just like this elf that flies around me like Jiminy Cricket.
And we get to see Guts trying to avoid any pain by just like being a dick. Then like they start to hear a bunch of voices. Just like a ton of them. Just a ton.
I love this trope.
Yeah.
You're in a dark forest and you're like like all around. I love the tropes that are used in Black Swordsman.
It's pretty funny. Guts being Guts, he goes, ah, shut up, and then, you know, shoots his like boomstick up in the air, just pow. And sorry, I'm doing the noises too. You probably don't need that.
Do all the sound effects.
Whoop, kablam,
Wow.
swing. And then he does like this edgy ass cape swoop, and that's the end of chapter 2.
So this chapter, I don't think it's as good as the first chapter. It does some weird things with like character with Guts. I think Black Swordsman could have helped with like kind of a rewrite, but you know, you can't really do that to a story. Just I think at first glance his character is a little jarring with how he's being represented, but we're still getting hints to him more and more as a character. You know, the skeletons are great. I love all the tropes used in it. But you know, we're going pretty good. I like chapters so far.
Yeah, the chapters like they're decent. I think chapter 1 is probably quite a bit better. If I were to rank them right now, I'd probably give like chapter 1 a 7.5 out of 10 for like a good first chapter. And then I'd probably give this like probably like a 7, maybe a little lower. Most likely 7. I think they're very close for me. I'm also biased a little bit because of the whole 80s.
Campiness.
Yeah, the campiness, the pulp
Army of
80s
Darkness.
horror, like yeah, it does give very Army of Darkness, and I'm into that. That's actually a great analogy. I do agree that I think the first chapter is better. Real quick, I'm gonna grab a drink and maybe a snack, so I'll be back.
I'll grab one too.
Alrighty.
Hello.
When I meant snack, I meant more like basically candy, because I got like some chocolate cherries instead.
I
So
have Pockies. We start at an execution. Of course, this is the medieval ages, so it's for heresy, which basically means for nothing. We're just murdering a guy.
Salem witch trials.
He is sentenced to immediate execution. And then we get the shot of the best character in all of Berserk, the Count. Man, he just looks like Kingpin from Spider-Verse.
He kind of does.
So yeah, we continue. Guts just shows up and he grabs this woman's head and just looks at it in the middle of just everyone. He throws the decapitated head
Yeah, yeah.
at the Count.
And the count somehow
And
catches it, bro.
Oh my god, that is his face too when he catches it. And by the way, so he punches this guy in the face with his metal hand. Ouch. Like actually, I know things have been getting decapitated and stuff, but that one actually
Yeah, that one
that hurts the look.
that one does feel like it would hurt quite a bit.
Did he just like draw with blood quickly on her head, the brand of sacrifice? Like, yeah, a little weird. He grabs the head and he does the mountain from Game of Thrones like head squeeze.
He does.
And her like eyes pop out and stuff, and he's all evil. He's like, ha ha ha! I love killing people.
That's how you know he's bad. Just like the snake one. It's because he smashed a head in and like starts laughing about it. You can also tell because he got like a ton of bloods on his fingers. He might lick those off later, just like the snake does.
And like Guts does, everyone
Yeah.
loves just the
It,
taste of blood.
blood's tasty though.
There's definitely some diseases like Guts. That is like a kind of behavior that is just gonna get you AIDS. I'm sorry, it's
In this
but
universe, Jesus didn't turn water into wine. Jesus turned water into blood. Okay.
I don't think there was a Jesus in this universe. I think it's only hell. But Guts gets surrounded, and we get this action scene with him.
Mhm.
And again, a dope ass action scene. What you would expect. He like winds it up, strikes, and then hits a pose. And then they go again and talk about his sword the same way in chapter one.
Yep.
Puck helps out. He does the solar flare.
You know, I was like, bro, is he like a flashbang? Since when?
I think Puck only has those few abilities and never uses anything else ever again. He does come up with his own fighting style though, which, he's very good at. So the face helmet on the big guy that Guts fights is just so funny to me. By the way, so Guts being 6'8", this man is towering over him. This guy is like 8 feet tall. What the hell? The action's just like well paced. Well, the paneling is just like great. It's kind of what you would come to expect from Berserk. But we continue till someone drops a smoke bomb, and he literally does the Batman like cloak thing.
He does actually.
Guts and Puck get out of there because of this one creepy guy. Ooh.
Ooh. So yeah, so this like mysterious man. It seems like he wants to help Guts and Puck escape. This mysterious man brings Guts and Puck into this like I want to say like a basement.
I love this room. I love the atmosphere so much. I love whenever in like horror things there's like the knowledgeable guy who knows about like demons and stuff. You walk into his like room and it's just like jars filled with just like monsters and stuff. I love
Yeah.
that trope.
So we see this. We see it's like he clearly is like he knows his stuff. We get like a good look at his face. Like he takes off his cloak and he's just like despicably gross. Like that is yeah. Like yeah, this dude talks about just how gross like what happened to it's he got fucked up bad basically. And he wants Guts to murder the count because the count's not even human anymore. He's a apostle. And then Guts, being Guts, he just fucking beats I think he doesn't he just like beat the shit out of him a little bit.
He literally kicked the cane out of. He was like holding a cane. He kicked it and he fell face first, planted into the.
Oh my god. But yeah, they walk into this room and Guts seems to be like he seems to know what this is. He's kind of like shocked to even see it. And it's this
A Behelit.
a Behelit. How do you say that? A Behelit?
There's different ways people say it. Some people say Behelit. I think Behelit is the best way.
Behelit?
Yeah.
But what's up with the H missing?
Behelit. No, I like. I think Behelit is just the best way to pronounce it. I think Behelit sounds kind of dumb, and I think that's maybe the most accurate way to say it. But I think Behelit is just like my personal way I would say it.
All right,
But
we'll go with yours and then
so if you don't say Behelit, you're gonna bother me, and I'm gonna be annoyed. So
Behelit. But no, it's just it's just a fucking egg with like it's just
a
an
nose.
egg with a like morphed face. It's just
I love where this is like where the creativity is like starting to come in, where it's not just like skeleton, snake monster, stuff like that.
mhm.
It's actually like kind of coming up with these new, really bizarre concepts. Yeah, no, I love Beylits. They're so disgusting. And
It's just like goofy looking. I kind of like it. Like genuinely, the design is kind of goofy. and I love it. That does conclude chapter 3, though.
Good introduction, I would say.
I think this is probably better than the last chapter, to be honest.
I think it's better, like, the last chapter, the storytelling was a little bit choppy. This one, just an introduction, and that's all it needs to be.
It was choppy and kind of, honestly, I feel like it was kind of slow paced. All that really happened was like,
It kind of feels like it was filler because nothing really
yeah.
changes by the end.
All right, so we learned what the Behelit is a little bit. It's
Yeah, no, you said it wrong. Behelit?
oh my I'm sorry. We learn what the Behelit is, right? Kind of. We get to know that it's something Guts is very aware of, to the point where he's gonna pick up this dude who has it and like start choking him. He asks where it comes from. Apparently, it's, like I said, it's very important. It's something important to Guts, at least. And he mentions that he stole it from the Count. We go into the story about, in the past, how the Count, out of nowhere, just became like, he wasn't even human anymore. He just became different. And basically, he ended up just torturing this person who we now know is named Vargas, while making his family get killed in front of him, or making him watch his family get killed in front of him, and
gulping them down.
yeah, gulping him down. That is, he kind of looks like Humpty Dumpty in that scene. Not gonna lie. We learned that Vargas stole the Behelit and has been trying to research it tirelessly. He's been tirelessly researching it, but could find nothing about it. Then Guts mentions that it is a key that opens a portal to another world that overlaps their own.
What?
What? The egg is a key? He says that it holds the 5 members of the God Hand in that dimension.
That panel is so... I love it. I love it so much.
Me too. That's like a really, really good shot, like genuinely.
I love like the reaction of like Puck and Vargas, like as if they're like looking at that panel instead of just like at Gus.
Like, what? Oh my god. We then get cut to the captain and the count, and the captain just wants to murder the Black Swordsman. Like, he's pissed that he lost to him, and the count gives him the opportunity to be able to rise again, basically, and gave him a daemon. Basically, it just turns him into kind of like an apostle, basically.
He basically gives him Las Plagas.
Yeah,
From RE, and he also says, "Take it inside of you, my daemon," and just orally impales him.
I wrote in parentheses on my note, and it just says AO. I forgot to say that part because I didn't look at the panel too much. But yeah, take it inside of you. That's an AO moment for real. We see that he wants to use the captain to just wreak vengeance. Go find him and
Just gonna turn him into a mini boss.
yeah, basically. And it cuts back to the trio, the group, the besties, and
I love these panels of Puck. Oh my god.
yeah, this one where his like face is trying to mimic the
Yeah.
the Behelit.
I also love the one where he's just patting it.
We then get to see that apparently the Count just got the Behelit from chance. That's interesting. It's just, or a caravan with merchants. Like, that's just like, I almost want to say that that's not the case, and almost like it could be a different way. We then get to see Guts be a good person again and kick the shit out of Vargas.
Yeah, what? Why? Vargas does not deserve this, bro.
Bro doesn't even have legs. Anyways, out of nowhere, bam, boom, walls get broken in, bam. It is the captain, and he looks mad. He looks a little bloodthirsty, and so he's there just to try to murder Guts. No biggie. And a battle ensues. We see that Guts goes and chops off the captain's arm, and then bro just becomes like Las Plagas from Resident Evil 4. I wrote this in my notes.
I have a note on that too. Same. I was like Berserk, especially stuff like this, definitely inspired Resident Evil. Just like characters looking normal, getting pieces chopped off, and just like it extending like this. It's so Resident Evil, and I love how it looks in here because if you look closely, they're like baby hands and stuff, and like it's so gross. I love it.
But yeah, so that happens, and so they start like swinging, they start fighting.
This is my only issue with a fight scene so far, is that I think Guts swinging his sword so fast that Puck can't see it. I think that's a little goofy, and I don't think that fits the tone very well of Berserk. I think it's kind of...
Yeah, I was like, my note for this specific scene was just you know, Guts is just casually perfect parrying with a 300-pound sword at like 50 miles per hour. That is insane.
Yeah, I just kind of forget this scene exists for like power scaling.
He then goes and like chops off like half of his brain and then does another pose when Puck is just like, he's a master swordsman. And I'm gonna say it, why is Guts looking a little like tented? He looks a little happy to see me in this pose. I'm just saying, I don't know. He's
Got
just a
something
little
in your
happy.
pocket, buddy?
The count happens to be part of the captain, and then right when they're going for like an insane attack, just the building collapses on them, and Vargas grabs the Behelit. You know, they get out of there. I'm saying I would too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know. I probably wouldn't want to get crushed, but I mean, some people are into that. All right, so when they escape, you know, they go through a sewer and they kind of say their goodbyes to Vargas. Guts and Puck, you know, they separate with the Behelit because they stole it from him. And then the second they leave, Vargas gets attacked. He just gets attacked by
Yeah.
the what I believe is the Count.
Before we continue, Puck has a line in here, and it's kind of like the themes of it, and it kind of also hints at Golden Age. He says the line, "Living for the future is more important than trying to avenge the past," because he's talking about how, you know, he says people need to keep living, and I is basically just Guts is a character. He's
Yep.
just gonna keep on living, keep on struggling. Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting because the way Guts is keeping going on right now is that he's kind of like cutting off every emotion he can possibly have except for rage. Because if he like gets any other kind of emotion, it will kind of devastate him. He is very unhinged right now, and letting anything else besides anger would not go well because he's, you know, not in a good place mentally. So
We then find out Vargas is about to be put on for execution, which is, well, unfortunate, I guess.
yeah, I guess.
You know,
And it sucks for that.
I personally wouldn't want to be there, but you know,
Guts is like kind of thinking about Vargas a lot, like thinking about like what Vargas told him and like, you know, his backstory and stuff. Like, you know,
yeah.
how he took my wife and sons, he couldn't do anything about it and stuff. And I think like the reason why Guts hates Vargas so much, is because he basically just sees Vargas as himself. So just kind of replacing that for anger against him, I think is another coping mechanism.
Guts then, you know, starts trying to validate why he shouldn't save Vargas from execution, and the like his pure sadness and anger gets poured straight into a Puck.
Guts does say a line in here that kind of stuck with me. Wait, let me find it. He says, "Ambition comes with a price attached. Of course, that price comes too high if you die for nothing." That line, feels very personal, but yeah, Guts, as you can tell, basically is cut completely of all his ambition besides, "I want to kill apostles."
Yeah.
Like he does not have any hopes and dreams anymore. He is just exists to be the Black Swordsman, which, you know, is pretty sad.
Vargas then proceeds to get executed. I mean, Puck did try to help, got captured instead, so that sucks for Puck.
Yeah,
And then we get to see a weird mix of the ugly ass slug and Vargas appear in
yeah.
front of Guts. And then afterwards we get to see just a view of this girl who we don't know yet.
Before we, I'm just trying to go through my notes as fast as possible. I will say my least favorite line in all of Black Swordsman is here,
Oh boy.
and it's when Vargas gets executed, right? And Guts is like, I can't exactly find where it is, but he's like, "Should I feel compassion?" Oh, that's
Oh
stupid. I don't like that line. I kind of hate it actually. It kind of undermines the rest of his character because it makes him seem like I don't know. I hate that line. I think it's inconsistent with the writing of Guts's character later. So that is one criticism towards this chapter.
it then goes to this girl who we see watching the execution from above. Gus then goes on to find just a pit of dead bodies from the execution, and they're just like kind of thrown in a pit. And then all of a sudden, like it almost feels like their souls come out to consume him.
Revenge.
Yeah, you know.
My favorite one was, "I want my head back."
I'm in pain.
And then he is just so terrifying that he just yells at them and they all just like run away.
He then starts, screaming about how it's his fight and sucks to be you. I'm not getting revenge with you or for you. So that's how it ends for chapter 4.
So kind of a mixed chapter. There were some really good things, some not so good things. I think it was paced pretty well. So
Yeah, it was. I think it was too.
so Guts is just climbing upstairs to the castle, trying to get to the big man Count.
Mm-hmm.
Count has Puck basically enslaved, and he gives it to his daughter as like a pet, which is just like I don't know what he thinks an outcome out of that would be. And she definitely seems pretty dead inside. It's not like, "Oh my God, what did you just bring into my room?" It's more like, "Oh, it's an elf. Is it real?"
Yeah, the daughter seems clearly like kind of disgusted with the father.
Yeah, I could definitely see why.
Yeah, I mean,
I think she is quite smart for not letting her dad touch her or be around her, so that's nice. Then he gets very angry. I love that panel. He is just like seething. Guts keeps climbing the stairs. He finds the Resident Evil monster guy again. By the way, this one-liner, "You're much prettier than the last time I saw you."
that is such a Leon thing to say, if I'm gonna be honest with you.
This is Resident Evil 4, like straight up.
Yeah.
I will say, I don't know how hard the one line with him revealing his weakness, just like, it's kind of funny, but also at the same time kind of stupid, where he's just like, "I'll just keep on regenerating myself over and over again unless you cut off my head."
I thought
And
that was so
it's
like
like,
okay.
the line is stupid. It's also a little funny how just the next page, he's just instantly decapitated.
Yep.
So it's kind of like I'd say it's a net neutral. It could have been done better. I think that's one of my issues with early Berserk
Mm-hmm.
is that villains monologue a lot, and I don't think that's necessary. As we'll see with the Count, because Jesus Christ, he talks a lot.
He talks so much. But yeah, I like how even though he went for the head, the head's still like living, bro. It's just like
He's like on his sword.
try
He's
now I'll
flat against
feed.
the wall. Yeah, I love monsters in Berserk, man. Yeah, Guts keeps getting more and more mad. So then we get Teresa's part, and I kind of want you to go over this.
Okay, so we go back to Puck and the daughter, and we learn that it seemed that the Count changed after his wife died, and apparently it was sacrificed by heretics. It says mother was sacrificed alive as an offering to their evil god. That's what happened with the wife, and ever since then the Count has changed. We go back to Guts as he starts climbing the stairs. He gets interrupted by the old man that we saw previously. And in like literally seconds, he slaughters like most the knights in the room, making the rest run and like just leaving leaving him alone with the old man.
How did that one crowd in chapter 1 get him?
I
Like,
don't know
actually
because
how?
bro, he went on like a freaking murder spree with this one. All right, so after that, it goes back to Puck's point of view, and so we learn that Teresa has never really left her room, and she wants to leave. Puck learns that Guts is amongst them, and Puck promises to come back and let her go after room after she hasn't left in like freaking 7 years, and Puck leaves to go find where Guts is located. We then go back to Guts just freaking kicking the old man into the freaking like door, slamming, pushing the door open, and the old man going flying back.
That is actually hilarious, dude.
We then get to see the Count yet again in his throne, and Gus is standing there.
Yep.
He starts walking towards him, and then bam, tentacles come out of the floor.
He just stabs the floor.
He just straight up stabs the floor, and like a fight and like just goes on. There's a fight.
I will say, like, this is one of those fights where it's like, okay, by the way, Dick Monster, what is with that panel? Like, as
All right, I was gonna. There's a few panels that are like that with the Count. I'm not gonna lie.
the thing is that's funny about Berserk is Berserk eventually like has this is subtle for Dick Monsters. Berserk. Later on, they just straight up like it's gonna be a troll thing with a penis head, and that's gonna be it. But yeah, this fight for me personally has a little bit too much monologuing.
Yeah, it's a lot of monologuing. So mostly just gonna skip it. There's a few cool images of the fight. Puck is like trying to find them, and then all of a sudden like watches as a wall of the castle gets broken open. Puck then sees that, wow, they are fighting. They just fight for a while. It's like they just
And Teresa's room is just rumbling to the
yeah.
like ash and dust.
I think the roof collapses in Teresa's room, so Teresa is forced to just like straight up leave the room anyways. So
She has her girl boss moment and she escapes.
we get to go back to the fight, and we get to see another mention to the brand of sacrifice on Guts' neck. While the Count is kinda absolutely demolishing Guts.
No, it is like so like Guts gets annihilated. The thing I love about this fight is that these blows look like they hurt.
Oh, like
Like, oh my
100%.
god.
But like Jesus, they like basically leave him like lifeless in the end. There's also some good monologuing. Monologuing is important to the Count. Yeah, and then he's basically like left on the floor, basically lifeless, with the Count towering over, and that's how the chapter ends.
I don't think Guts is gonna make it out of this one.
I just want to go to the Count's image, like the high detailed one. That is straight up.
Yeah.
That's just a dick.
Yeah, like
Those are the balls.
yeah.
And that's just a dick.
I would not I would not take that deal to become an apostle if I look like that.
Me either. Hell no.
Um so like Puck gives like a speech which kind of gives Guts some time to recover. He says, if it was only about revenge, all you had to do was exercise your authority. The truth is, you became this thing to run away from the pain inside your own heart, to run away from yourself. You threw away your humanity. If anyone's a fragile human, it's you. Yeah, not only did he just like roast him, but Jesus Christ, if that isn't the perfect example of Guts right now.
Yeah,
um,
yeah. I think I put that
if-
it relates to both of them really.
Yeah, it's very much. If I could sum up Guts in Black Swordsman, this speech is exactly like, yeah, yeah,
They go back and forth, kind of bickering. Puck gets called a squirrel. I think it's kind of funny. And there's like an image of Puck looking like a squirrel, so that's also funny. We see the Behelit fall, hit Puck right in the head, and the Count's like, oh wow, now I know where it is. Thank you. You just gave me it. And Puck is trying to fly away with it. Also, and I think it's kind of funny. I just found it kind of funny, at least. The way he's pulling the Behelit is like from the mouth and the nose. And so
I'd never noticed that. That is hilarious.
and so like it's pulled open like up. Like that is so
Behelit
funny
is
to me.
not having a good time. That is actually hilarious.
Then Teresa barges into this room and witnesses her dad as a monster basically, and is like horrified. I mean, you knew your dad was weird,
Yeah,
but like what the hell is that thing now? Like I would probably have a lot of trauma from that.
yeah. It kind of showcases how good of a person Guts is, because Guts immediately goes for his daughter, puts her as a shield, and threatens her life.
Yeah,
You know,
good person.
he
But
he would have lost anyways, so it was his only way, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it allowed him to use his like freaking hand cannon and then
I must
slice.
hurt your shoulder so bad.
I know,
Ugh.
like and then he just like uses his like this is what I was talking about earlier. Just like he puts it in his mouth. A 300-pound. So I keep saying 300 pounds, but it's 300 pounds. And he shoves it in his mouth and he just slices off the head of the Count.
That is such a hype panel. Oh my god.
Like that is crazy. Puck mentions that Guts totally planned to have Teresa be used as a hostage and like a human shield. And then after that, Guts just starts to torture the Count in front of his daughter. and then when Puck says no, he threatens to kill Puck.
Well, yeah, what a amazing. I love this guy. Like I trust in this guy. I'm just saying the panel where he's like stabbing him and he's like, amazing, you really are superhuman. You really don't die, do you? Okay. I'm just saying that panel makes him look scarier than any monster we've seen so far.
The Behelit just starts, the Behelit gets covered in the Count's blood, and
That's such a cool visual.
It is a very cool
Like,
visual, and it just starts to like
just like it's
cry.
yeah, the face morphs into a real face, and then it starts to yeah, that's
It starts to cry
uh
after the count screams that he doesn't want to die.
and then from here on out we get like amazing imagery.
So they get like basically spawned into another dimension, a new world basically, due to the Behelit. And then the count says that the Great Ones are coming, which seems to like terrify Guts. Like Guts looks terrified in this image. And then towards the end, we see what seems to be the five members of the God Hand.
Yeah, I both kind of love and I have some criticisms of this introduction of the God Hand, but I also kind of love it in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
So I love how abstract it is, like they are just like completely otherworldly. But my only issue is that the God Hand are just the most powerful beings ever, and I feel like it could have been communicated a little bit better that they are just so beyond, you know what I mean? Like how big of a threat these guys are to the world and how much Guts just literally will never be able. Like there's no hope he could ever harm any of them. Like you get the idea that they're strong and they're like abstract beings, but they like control all the bad stuff happening in the world. But I still love the visuals.
The visuals are great, especially in this like dimension. In chapter 7, I think we get a great image of just the place, really.
Yeah, and I forget her name, the woman like God Hand member. I don't care if she's a demon. I don't care. Okay? That gives me a reason to become an apostle, okay?
You know what? True. I like how there's like two goofy looking members and then like
Yeah.
one hella handsome, one hella of sexy, and then this one's just kind of cool. I don't know, the one with the brain.
So they're like very much inspired by Hellraiser, which is cool. I think Mira like literally said yeah they're directly inspired from Hellraiser, and I think that's awesome because the like Cenobites in Hellraiser are like so cool. And just like the designs of these are I love it. Especially I love why am I forgetting the name? His name's like Void or something. But he's like the oldest one. He has the brain exposed. I love that
Mm-hmm.
design.
Yeah, me too.
The bird, I do not like. I do not like this guy. I do not a fan. But yeah, let's continue.
All right.
So, it starts and Guts sees the God Hand, and the first thing he mentions is a little name, Griffith. So essentially, the Count has resummoned them to make another sacrifice
Mm-hmm.
to save his life. That is what the Behelit was for. And the reason why the Behelit like kind of followed them around and stuff is because the Behelit had to reach the Count. There was literally no possible way where that Behelit would never reach back into the Count's hands. And that's kind of how Behelits work and how Casualty works and stuff. And yeah, Guts kind of just like impresses all the goddamn members. Is like he's branded and he's still alive. Like what the hell?
Yeah.
They kind of like explain there's some exposition with the godhead members kind of just talking about what they do. I guess I could
Mm-hmm.
the exposition could have been done a little bit better, I feel, with a little bit more grace, but it's still a cool scene. And Guts gets very mad at Griffith and he tries to swing at him, and that was never gonna happen.
Yeah.
uh
I don't even know how this dude's still
um
alive at this point.
Yeah, like Griffith basically if Guts like shows up and Griffith is there, he just can murder him essentially. Like basically the level of power like the God Hand has is basically like they can just like say no to they're basically writers of the story. Like literally nothing can affect them at all. They're just gods. By the way, I just love the one guy with the sunglasses. I love him so much. So we go on, and Big Brain Guy says it is time to perform the invocation of doom. That's pretty spooky.
That is spooky.
So basically they say that the count has to sacrifice something he holds dear, and once you know it, his daughter is the last thing he holds dear to his heart. He has to sacrifice her and they will give him a new life, or he will die there and probably rot in hell forever. Even though he loves his daughter, but he's still like a bad dad for not immediately
Yeah.
choosing, I'll save my daughter. And basically sunglasses guy pulls up and he's like, "Yeah, let me just like expose him." And actually a pretty dark story. He like, loved his wife and stuff. It kind of I like how it actually gives a reason for him to hate heretics,
Yeah,
besides him just being evil.
he does have some
So
justification. I mean,
yeah,
in
so
a
he was
sense.
a yeah, he's a dick beforehand too, but
Yeah.
he becomes a bigger dick for a reason. He was happy with his family and stuff, and after, he went on a raid to fight heretics, he comes back home and, he's tired, and then he just walks in on his wife mounting a goat god with a massive orgy, which is just like Satan worship.
Yeah.
As a warning, this goat god thing, is gonna be a reoccurring thing.
Oh
So,
no. Oh boy.
and this is nothing compared to how it gets in like Conviction. Yeah, and just seeing that is pretty. Your wife cheating on you is one thing. Whatever this is pretty bad.
Yeah, I would say
And
so.
you're saying this in front of, the daughter, which, yeah, that's pretty messed up. So the Count essentially murders all of them. By the way, it's just so he already hates heretics. He has been ingrained it into his mind that they need to die. And just imagine seeing that the ultimate thing of like heresy.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's screwed up. So he kills all of them, and he leaves his wife, and he finishes the job. And that's what turns him into an apostle. It's messed up because she wants it as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just messed up. It's just some berserk being berserk and just being screwed up. Not cool. Yeah, they wouldn't quite let him kill himself. So he became the apostle, and now he just kills people that look at him funny. So they keep trying to convince him to sacrifice his daughter. There's this really cool shot of, or not shot. This isn't a movie. This cool like page, where it shows the Count in his like apostle form with like all the dead people around him. It's just thick looking. Like, oh
Mhm.
my god, love the monsters in Berserk. It is so awesome. So they want to grant him his burning desire, and Guts is like, "Fuck, heal me up right now. What do you just want me to die here?" I got sent like 1,000 feet, and you're just like sitting there watching this backstory.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's that chapter.
Yeah, that was
So what were your thoughts?
I kind of like that chapter a lot. I think I feel like the I really like the story of the Count. It gave me it kind of just like felt like what he was doing made sense more because
Feels like he's getting better as a writer.
yeah, as these chapters go on, he's starting to know what he wants, I think. I mean, I just kind of like this whole entire environment
Yeah.
of just this world that they are in right now. I think it's just very very cool. This probably for me tops above the first chapter. I think
Yeah, I would agree.
chapter 7 and chapter 8 are my favorite chapters of the Black Swordsman.
Yeah.
So chapter 8 starts with a flashback of what seems to be young Guts and Griffith, and they are amidst what seems to be like the middle, or it seems like to be the end of the war, with a bunch of dead bodies. They're like just chilling on. Griffith starts talking about what their purpose is in this world. They start like questioning like what are they destined for? And it shows like the connection between the two because Griffith says that you're the first person I've ever spoken to like this. So they are clearly close, it seems. But this imagery, you can tell that it's Griffith because of Griffith now.
I will say, Berserk does get a little gay. And that is going to be an interesting discussion. Is okay, how gay is Griffith? Yeah, he definitely he was close to Guts more than other people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how we get most of this.
We cut back to the present where we see Teresa is just super close to being sacrificed with like the brand symbol coming right at her. She seems to be backing up towards the edge, and all the God Hand are just waiting for the Count to answer to sacrifice Teresa, while Guts is still trying to tell Puck to heal his arm to help save Teresa. So Guts in this moment I think is trying to do something nice.
What a good guy.
He's everything else he's done negated by this. Like We then see this is the visual I was talking about.
Damn.
It's just like it's a great visual of the souls swirling around in
I
this
know,
like
just imagine that like as a green, just like, oh
yeah.
my god, that is so cool looking.
I wonder if someone has like created like colored it in or something. I think that'd be sick.
I'm sure they have, but I think black and white is still probably
It probably is better.
the way to go. Especially with Berserk because of how detailed Berserk is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think some manga, like, color benefits.
Yeah.
I don't think it would for Berserk.
We learned that this place is hell. Yeah, this is hell, Griffith says. And you can see the like visible fear and terror in on Guts's face. And the Count, for that matter. Both of them, both their faces. As we witness the Count's soul is slowly being pulled towards the souls. We learn why Guts is terrified as well, and it's because since he got caught up with demonkind, it means he will also be taken away by the souls, just the same as the Count will. The members of the God Hand are still trying to pressure the Count into making the decision to sacrifice, but he ends up not doing it, making his like soul get taken away.
And just this visual right here of all the bodies coming in at like a line.
Yeah,
Oh my god, that is terrifying.
such a like that is so scary. Also, it's just so well like drawn too.
And it has Vargas there, and it's just like, oh, so if they go to hell,
Yeah.
this is basically eternity like this. Oh my god, yeah, I love it. It's so gross and cool.
When I saw Vargas, I kind of thought like it was sad to see him being like hell, but at the same time, it was kind of a bittersweet take that I put on it, that he's finally able to get revenge on the Count this way. So I thought that was just kind of cool seeing him. Justice. Guts also starts to be taken away by the souls because of his brand of sacrifice. Oh, and while that's happening, he feels the need to yell at Griffith and then shoots Griffith with the hand cannon as if that would work. It fails.
Yeah, Griffith just like literally says no. Like his just no.
And then Guts falls down, hits a floor. The portal closed, and Guts, Puck, and Teresa were left back at the castle.
I don't know if they say why. I don't think they do. My only interpretation is that Griffith let Guts live. Maybe it was just because the Count died and it was his Behelit, so
Maybe.
it was over. I'm not sure.
Teresa starts to have a like mental breakdown. Basically, I mean, after all she witnessed, I probably would too. I'm not, you know.
Yeah.
She witnessed a lot in that singular day.
Yeah.
She tells Puck to leave her alone, and that all she wants to do is just return back to her room, to where she didn't know anything about life. Teresa says she would rather be dead than living in this world, and Guts just says die then. And he's being completely serious about it. It's not like, oh yeah, you know, die. He's just like, yeah, do it. Then he,
Kill yourself. You should kill yourself now.
And then he, tells her how. And then as she's trying to slit like her wrist, the platform she is on breaks and falls. And she then grabs for Guts, just like his massive slab of a sword to stay alive. Like,
oh, that hurts.
that imagery is hurting. I mean, it cuts her hands like hella deep. After he ends up pulling her up and witnesses her cuts from the sword, it looks like he is like he seems upset and like kind of he seems like he's about to cry. Then Teresa gets mad at Guts, yells at him, saying it was all his fault for everything that has happened, and she says someday she will kill him. And Guts says, "Okay, do it then." After that event occurred, you see him super duper sad.
Yes.
Look at that face.
That sad face. I wanna hear your thoughts on this scene.
I feel like he is upset. He's clearly crying. Probably numerous reasons. Probably because he went through like the effort to save her, and like even saving her twice, even after she tried to kill herself, there is still hatred towards him either way. And the fact that he can't really do anything about it. Everything, since he has that brand of sacrifice, everything just follows him. All these demons, all these monsters and stuff, they're just, I think he probably feels like almost helpless in a way. Like he can't really do much right because no matter what he does, something's gonna happen and fuck up. So that's probably one interpretation of it.
My interpretation of this scene, because it is kind of left open. It's that Guts, he's kind of in this scene, he can't keep up his persona as much
Mm-hmm.
anymore. So he tries to keep it up. He's like, okay, go ahead, kill yourself. It's your life. Do what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And then he sees her actually try to go through with it, and she falls from the cliff. And even though he said, man, I don't care, these weaklings, whatever, he still saved her life and was genuinely shaken because she was about to die.
Yeah.
And I think that like realization with Guts kind of like brought him back down to earth again, and that brought him back to, his trauma. And it's also that combined with how he basically just made himself again in another person. Another Vargas, another Guts. He just made it a new person. She's gonna pursue him for the rest of her life with just hatred and
Yeah.
anger, not actually live life.
Mm-hmm.
And he just did that to a person, and I think that realization also is what makes him sad.
All right.
So let's say our final thoughts.
Okay.
How would you like review Black Swordsman?
All right. I think there's a lot of things to talk about here. I guess I'll start with just Guts at the moment. Guts it's interesting because he's like a quite a mysterious character for like a lot of this arc. I'll say almost all of this arc. I guess that we were kind of just talking about this. You can like kind of see like the glimpses of where he breaks his like persona he's trying to pull up. And I think that's like kind of cool character development to see, especially when the main character is just a complete asshole the entire time, like Guts was. All right, I think I'm gonna go into a little rant here. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Okay.
Puck, at least in this arc, I think he gives the the My Hero Academia main character a run for like his money for how often they cry and whine. Like, genuinely, Puck cries and whines a shit ton. And I thought Puck was kind of annoying at a lot of points because I don't know. I like certain scenes I felt like would just hit a little harder if he just wasn't there. Like I think
Wasn't.
if we go back to the last scene we just were talking about where he's sad, like that scene kind of hits hard. And then right below it we just see Puck going like like what? No. So I don't know. I thought Puck probably he was I felt like he was just there to be there. I feel like he was just there so the audience remembered that he just existed for some portions. Although I don't know, he had some good lines. I like actually quite a few good lines. So he's kind of like a 50-50 for me at the moment.
Mixed bag.
Yeah, mixed bag. I think Teresa is gonna be a pretty cool character if they expand on that at least. I think it would be cool to see later on to see Teresa come back to actually hunt down Guts.
Yeah.
As well as literally she's already kind of an interesting character because she like broke down Guts almost like all this ends up going back to that like last panel. I'm gonna be real. The art style kind of went hella hard too for a lot of it, so that's a plus. I think I might be biased a little bit on my overall rating just because I think the art style and the fight scenes went hella hard.
Yeah, I honestly think the paneling and art definitely like does a lot of heavy lifting. It is
It
pretty
is.
great.
It does. It really does. And I know it only just gets better over time. So I'm kind of excited to see what will happen with that, like just the style. I also thought Griffith. I thought Griffith was kind of cool. Very mysterious, very unknown as of now. We only know very little about Griffith, just that they wanted something better. They wanted a destiny.
Yeah.
But it makes us think like why Guts hates Griffith as much. And I can make a speculation and assumption right now. I'm sure that Griffith probably sacrificed Guts or something to that extent to get to the point where
He
he
does have
is.
a brand of sacrifice.
That is true. That's my thought. Although just speculation. And so I think that like this arc is probably the best introduction to like Berserk. I don't know if I would start it any other way. I think Black Swordsman was a cool opening to it.
I agree. I think it definitely needed the start with Black Swordsman.
And I think over time, the more like when I read the Golden Age and whatnot, I'm pretty sure that opinion will just solidify more.
I am so excited for you to read Golden Age. I'm like I think I'm super excited. I'm so hyped to do the next reviews on those
Yeah, no, I'm
chapters.
excited. I'm excited too. I think to summarize though, I'd probably give this arc about a 7 out of 10, maybe 7.5. I think it introduces us quite well to the like who the characters will be, or at least who the main character is at the moment. It builds a good world, and I think it has a good art style. I do think it's edgy, very edgy, in fact. But I kind of like the edginess for it. At least I think it worked well with Black Swordsman, and yeah, I don't know. I just think it was done fairly decent.
So 7 out of 10
Yeah,
or
I
is
would
how
say
you
like
lock in?
a 7 to 7.5 out of 10.
Black Swordsman has some things that were better than I remembered. It's definitely a first draft. There's some things that are like inconsistent. There's like character wise. The things I did really enjoy is of course the art. That the pacing was actually pretty good. It was you see a lot of older like animes or mangas and stuff, and the beginnings are usually boring as shit and incredibly just hard to sit through. Take like JoJo's Part One. Black Swordsman isn't that way for me. It's definitely I could fly through the other arcs way faster
Mhm.
because I just they're just I love them. Um, but it was just like fun. It was kind of just like a fun time, most of it. I think though, if Berserk kept going down this kind of style, it would have been better to have a more comedic main character kind of thing, kind of like Ash
Yeah.
in Army of Darkness. Which is kind of funny. They both are missing a hand and, and fight skeletons and stuff.
I do agree. I think it only works right now because it's just a singular kind of like a short arc.
Yeah, yeah. I liked a lot of it. There was also a lot of parts that weren't the best, and could be worked on. I do like it overall. I think my personal enjoyment is a little higher than where I'd put it like critically, because it speaks, just fighting ghouls and skeletons and
Yeah.
Resident Evil monsters. I love that stuff. So I think I would put it like slightly above average. So it's somewhere between like average and good for me.
Okay.
So I would give it personally about still good. I think I don't love it. Still think it's a good introduction, and I'm super excited to see to read from here and do more reviews because this was pretty fun.
This was.
Yeah. So I guess we will keep working on it, and we will see everyone in the next review.
Woo.
Ooh. Okay.